you're not a fucking villager.
Men invest and women give it away. Imagine how much more successful I could be if I had a wife.
So I think it's really imperative to talk about money on the first date. You would not catch us dead drinking out of the hotel minibar.
Is it more feminist to go 50-50? Wow, I am like getting some tough love. Hello and welcome to Boy Problems, the only podcast that solves your boy problems so that you don't have to. I am so excited for today's guest. Her name is Vivian Tu. You might know her as your Rich BFF. She's a Wall Street trader turned truth teller for normal people like us to know what rich people are doing to be rich so that we can do it too. She has an amazing podcast. And I think in this day and age where literally leaving your house will cost you like $40, like it feels like it costs $40 just to be alive and to breathe. Her advice is coming at a really, really, really valuable time. And so Vivian Tu, welcome to Boy Problems. You are one of my favorite people. Like I had heard so many things about you and so many people had like brought you up in conversation. And then we finally met at a dinner, a very fun dinner, a girls' dinner. And I immediately just like got sucked into your world. You are a Robin Hood of sorts. You were embedded in Wall Street.
In Wall Street.
You took all of the learnings that you had in that environment and then sharing them with the world so that the rest of us, basically not just rich people, know how to make money.
Yeah. I mean, the way I thought about it was my very first job, I was on Wall Street. So like I was making very rich, like hedge fund, like people, like high net worth people who could have assets at hedge funds or asset managers. Like I was making them richer. And then my second job, I actually worked in media. So I was like, oh, I'm making corporations richer through advertising. And now I get to make regular people richer and it feels really good.
Yeah. And it's such a perfect fit for this show.
Can I talk to you about something that's kind of frustrating me? I feel like our parents, their generation had a favors economy. If I was going out of town and you were my neighbor and I needed you to drop me off at the airport at like 6 a.m., you would just do it.
Yeah.
And then like when you were out of town, I would walk your dog for free. Our society has now replaced all of our friends and neighbors with like gig economy like services.
Yeah.
Now instead of you taking me to the airport, I can call a car or I can call a Waymo. Like there's no human even involved. Instead of I'm walking your dog, like I can call a rover or like you can call a rover and we can do that. But like,
wait, what's a rover?
Like
it walks your dog?
No, like they're like people who like sign up to walk dogs.
Got it.
But like my concern here is if we replace all of this community with paid services, one, it's making our entire population broke.
Right.
But two, it's not healthy because we all complain about not having the community that our parents had or not having the village. You're not a fucking villager. Like you didn't show up to that person's baby shower. You didn't go to the PTA meeting and bake the cookies and you didn't do all of that. So it's like, why would you expect someone to show up for you if you don't show up for them?
Wow. So how do you be a better villager?
I think it really is about like doing the little things. Like if you're going to mow your own lawn, just do your neighbors.
Yeah.
If you know they're having a hard time, like reach out, invite them to your home. And I promise you that when you suddenly need something, you forgot to lock the door and you happen to be away for 2 weeks, you can make that ask and they'll go and do it for you.
Totally. I mean, we've had many conversations about this on the pod. Priya Parker, who wrote The Art of Gathering, is a friend of the pod. And she basically talks about the fact that convenience became the most important factor in terms of how we organize, how we lead our lives.
Yeah.
And inherent in social interactions and being a villager is friction. Like when you get in someone else's car, there might be a conversation that makes you feel, uncomfortable. There might be something playing on their radio. This
that you don't want to listen to.
That I don't want to listen to. Like I've been in Ubers where like they're literally listening to like a manosphere podcast thing that's like women are, made for like whatever. And there's also like the entire safety component, which I don't think that's friction. That's like danger. And we don't, but you'll think of Jonathan Haidt and just other people who talk about the fact that there was so much of an emphasis on stranger danger when we were young. And actually there's bigger dangers on the internet than with sort of strangers 100%. On,
Nobody is offering you candy, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was something they really prepared me for.
It
was
really
like free candy.
I
love candy, by the way. I was like very easily tricked. Like free puppies and candy, I'm in the van.
Yeah, that would be appealing. I mean, as a 38-year-old woman, if someone would offer like had puppies in a van, it would be hard to not investigate. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, we're already getting into it. But yeah, your Instagram is incredible. You are so full of wisdom and you are, again, just one of the very few people who is giving financial advice, but it feels like so much more than that. It's like life advice and money. I think for a lot of women, I consider myself a part of that. But I think even a lot of men, like the economy is so bad. When I think about money, I have like hives.
Yeah.
And so in a way though, I'm losing out because I'm afraid of having these conversations.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to check my bank account. Like you make money feel a lot less daunting and feel a lot more normal to discuss. And so thank you for doing that. Can you talk a little bit about what is the difference between men's relationship with money and women's relationship with money?
Oh, easy. Okay, imagine you're a little boy, okay? And you constantly hear messaging that's like, you have to step into your power. You have to be strong. You have to be a leader. Like, it's good to have money and like build a company and like do all of these things, right? Like take risks.
Yeah.
And then for our little girls, we say, don't be a shopaholic.
Right.
Ooh, like, do you really need that? You're splurging. Like just even like the language used around how we talk about money to young children is so gendered. And so that's why you see like media that exists that is called Two Broke Girls instead of like Two Broke Dudes.
Right.
Why you see movies that are called Confessions of a Shopaholic. Why you see all of the finance movies feature a strong male lead. It just feels like men have been conditioned to see money as a tool to grow their life. And women have seen money as a limiting factor in their life.
Right. And not only a limiting factor, but, you know, I had a friend, Lindsay, who would talk about what men and women do with their money.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, men invest and women give it away. Even when it comes to people, I think women who are pretty wealthy, or again, it can be anybody, right? Like, what do you do with that extra income that you want to, you know, give back? Men have a tendency to be like, okay, what can I invest in? How can I use my money to grow my money, even if I'm giving it to a good cause? Whereas women just kind of, and I don't think this is because we're dumb. I think it's what we're expected to do. Like there is, I mean, do you feel this pressure?
Yes,
to
because
sort of
when you are a woman with a lot of money, you're money hungry. You're a gold digger. You got it through unjust means. Like I even hear this about like one of the richest women on earth, Mackenzie Bezos. People are like, oh, she didn't deserve that money. She wasn't literally suffering as, you know, building Amazon in that garage with Jeff. The expectation is that like, if you are a woman with a lot of money, you are a bad person. But when we see men with a lot of money, it's like envy almost of like, they are morally superior to me. And so I think there is an exact thing of what you talked about of like women giving it away is like, there is almost like an obligation of us to care for our communities and care for our villages when we have money. But there's not that same pressure put on men. For them, that's where a lot of the hoarding happens, is because they don't have the shame required to force them to open libraries and hospitals and like all of these other things.
Wow. So we need to
We need to bring back shame. Okay. I can't say this enough. Like think about the robber barons. All right. You've got Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt. Like what do? They opened up universities. They opened up hospitals, libraries. They slapped their names on them. Of course, they want the warm glow. They want you to cheer and clap for them. Like I'm not saying these are the best people on earth, but like through this unimaginable wealth, there was public good that came of it. Like there are Carnegie libraries that have done life-changing research. Vanderbilt is literally one of the best universities in the country. It is a research institution. I think that we need to force today's billionaires to have that same mindset of like, I want the public to like me. Like they need to like want to be liked. Instead of becoming the richest man on earth and throwing the tackiest wedding I've ever seen in my life. As someone who also had an Italian wedding and did not spend $50 million, mine looked a lot better. I'm just saying. Instead of spending $50 million on a really horrible wedding, what could you build with $50 million? Could you build the Jeff Bezos Center for kids who want to read good and do other stuff good too? That would literally change the world in a positive way. And like people would actually have something to say about you that would make you feel good. Like, do you not want to be like liked?
Okay, I have a few follow-ups. There's just so much income disparity. And there's a lot of it being blamed on billionaires and blamed on rich people.
As it should be.
Oh,
I was just gonna say, let's clarify, billionaires and like high earning rich is completely different. I think everybody should want to be rich. Like the doctors, lawyers, engineers, the heart surgeon that goes into the hospital, works 80 hours a week, is on their feet for 13 hours to save your grandma's life. They deserve to make $800,000 a year. I'll say it. They deserve it because they had to go through over a decade of extra schooling. They probably had 350,000 in student loan debt that they had to then pay off. They are doing a skill that is incredibly technical. Very few people in the world has super high demand. The demand will never go away, by the way. Hearts are going to continue to be a problem.
Yeah.
But the supply of people who can feasibly do the job and do the job effectively is very low. They deserve to make a lot of money. I promise you that heart surgeon is closer to being homeless than becoming a billionaire. The only way you can feasibly get to that kind of wealth is through hoarding, is through exploitation, is through, frankly, a lot of unjust means. I am a huge proponent of people getting rich. I want you to feel rich. I want you to feel like you can go on vacation multiple times a year. I want you to feel like you can go to the grocery store and shop without looking at the prices. I want you to feel like you can kick over your desk and tell your boss F you and find a job that actually respects you. Those are all facets of being rich. I feel very rich in my life. Being rich and being a billionaire are different things.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, coming back to the Mackenzie Bezos, I think there's this kind of right-wing argument that all the women who are really wealthy have earned it through men. That either their dad was rich or their husband was rich. And I think there's such... It also just really ignores the fact that really rich men had wives. And if they hadn't had wives, they probably wouldn't have been able to be rich men. It's sort of this, what's her name? The comedian Ali Wong says, imagine how much more successful I could be if I had a wife.
Yeah.
And not just that, yeah, men are hoarding wealth and men have much more of a shameless attitude towards it, but women's labor in helping men get rich is actually very invisibilized in our society.
And there's this fun, I don't even know if this is true, by the way, but I see this all over the internet. Maybe it's because I'm on like mom Facebook or whatever. There's this story about, I can't remember if it's like Alabama or Georgia or LSU or whatever. There's like a big time coach. He's like the, head football coach. Him and his wife were driving and they end up at a gas station to get gas. And her boyfriend from high school was working at the gas station, and her husband, who's the head coach of whatever this big SEC school's team is like, see, aren't you glad? Like, you got really lucky. Like, you could have ended up with a gas station attendant as your husband. And the wife goes and she says, actually, you should feel really lucky because he could have been the head coach at LSU or he could have been the head coach at Alabama, emphasizing like her role in getting that man to that position of, you never had to worry about being the household CEO. You actually have no idea where these things are purchased. You have no idea what the housekeeper costs. You have no idea what time the kids play t-ball and how often we have to drop them off for ballet recitals and soccer camp and all of this stuff. Like, it's like there's so much unpaid emotional labor, unpaid physical labor that goes into this we don't talk about. And actually, there have been studies that show it's literally trillions of dollars worth in the economy, but because it's largely done by women, it's not valued.
Right, exactly. You say that we should be bringing up money on the first date.
First date.
Because I think for a lot of people, it's like, whoa, that'll be way too intense, or, this makes me very superficial. Yeah. Why should we bring up money on the first date, and how can we do it in a way that doesn't ruin the vibe?
Okay, so I feel like if you are not dating to find a life partner, you're dating to get your heart broken.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
That is my take.
That's a good take. Wait, expand on that take.
Because like, if you are just trying to like get laid as a woman, it is so easy. Like, literally, I could walk outside and just catch a penis, like if I wanted to, right? Like, is that crazy to say? But like, no, I feel like true. It's so easy. Like, if you are just looking to get laid, that is one conversation. But if you are looking to truly go on a date and learn something new about somebody, it is up to you to make sure that person is going to fit well into your lifestyle and into your life. So I think it's really imperative to talk about money on the first date, because you need to be with someone who values a dollar the same way you do. It is a core fundamental thing. In the same way that people believe political values, religion, like, do you want to have kids? Yes or no? Like, those are core fundamental things. I believe how you view finance is a core fundamental thing that is, frankly, very challenging to change, and two, tells you a lot about a person. And so let's do this without killing the vibe, okay?
Yeah, what are you going to say?
You and I are on a date.
Okay, great. Role play.
And I'm going to just be like, so Liz, if you could go on an all expenses paid vacation for 1 week, what would you do?
Oh, okay. I don't know why. Is that about money? Okay. I'm going to trust the process. Okay. I would go probably, well, I can't really leave the country right now. It's sad because I'm scared. But if I were to be able to do that, that'd be so fun. And I would want to go to Japan. I really want to go to Tokyo. Okay. And I would probably do a lot of eating. I really love just the clothes and the style. And I would probably do some shopping, and then probably like a spa, like sort of massages and something fun like that. Yeah, that would be what I would do.
Okay. Well, my dream 1 week vacation is to go to Disneyland for 7 days. and I have the fast pass.
Okay.
We are not compatible people.
Oh, interesting.
Go ahead and assume that we're not.
Okay, got it.
You understand?
Yes.
If I say I want to go backpacking through Europe, I want to hike the Andes, that doesn't feel like it's for you. If someone's like, hey, I want to take the Belmont train, that person might be for Liz. You know what I mean?
I do. What you're saying is validating me, because when I see on dating apps when their interests are camping,
I'm out.
I just know. And it's not even like, I don't think you're bad. I'm just like, this is not going to work.
Why would it?
Well, yeah.
First off, I don't like going somewhere that's less nice than my home. I need running water. I don't want to pee or poo into a hole.
No.
Like,
no. Why would I pay for that?
Why would I pay for that?
Why would I do that on a day off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no, camping is just chores.
I think the first date, you don't have to show up and be like, show me your W-2. Like, that's weird.
Right.
But ask them about their values.
Yeah.
Of like how they want to spend their money. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow and had $1 million in your bank account?
Oh, that's a good one. Damn, these are really good. Also, they're great date questions.
They're great date questions.
Fun.
Because they're low key.
They're low key.
It doesn't feel like an interrogation.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're trying to learn something about them.
That's so good.
The person who's like, oh, honestly, I would continue doing my job as a social worker because I love it so much, is a very different person than someone who's like, oh, I would immediately take the $1 million and I would open up this nail salon or a bakery. It's a very different person than someone who's like, I would invest that money because I'm trying to retire as soon as possible. I don't want to work, period.
Right.
These are all different people.
But do you want someone who compliments you in the way that like maybe they have a different relationship with money, but it's a good compliment to yours? Or do you want them to have the same view of money?
I find it very hard to find someone who has a vastly differing view of money than you that complements yours. So you know how like there's a phrase like opposites attract?
Yeah, exactly.
It's bullshit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Completely?
It's completely bullshit.
Why?
Studies have shown you make a better match with someone who is more like you. I'm not saying you're looking for your twin.
Yeah.
But someone who actually has the same view of money as you is helpful. So I'll give you an example. My husband and I are both very high earners. My business is making multi-7 figures a year. He makes multiple 7 figures a year. You would not catch us dead drinking out of the hotel minibar. Wow. Because we both grew up like middle class.
Right.
It was instilled in us that if you drank out of the minibar, you would bankrupt the entire family. First off, okay?
My dad would be like, don't even touch it.
Don't even touch it because the weight, it might be weighted.
Yeah, it's gonna charge you. I grew up like in fear of the minibar.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But like we are in a very vastly different place than our parents were.
Yeah.
Like my parents are Chinese immigrants. They came here in their 20s, literally with 2 suitcases and a dream.
Wow.
But like we are still very frugal in that way. However, my husband also opened up a 529 account and started contributing to it 5 years ago because those are for education for our future child.
Yeah.
We are both very, very committed to making sure our child has the best possible education. We are happy to splurge big. I don't care if Harvard costs $1 million by the time my kid needs to go. We are greasing the palms. We are getting them into Harvard. I want you to have the best possible education. Great. We both know we want to spend on that. Neither of us spend that much on retail. We're not huge shoppers. Like, yeah, we'll buy stuff here and there, but we're not huge shoppers. Yeah. When we go on vacation, no expenses spared.
Okay.
Do not tell me what it costs. I don't care, okay? I want the car transfer. I'm not trying to figure out Uber in a different language. I am not trying to take the public transportation with my 2 suitcases. Forget it. I want the car transfer. Yeah. I want to stay at the nicest hotel. I want to make sure we are getting room service at least once. I love room service now. These are things we'd love to spend on together. And because of this, we have so many shared experiences. And it's all because we had the foresight to have money conversations early and often. And they don't have to be stressful. I feel like if you even brought up of like, what is the best meal you ever had and how much did it cost? Can we go again next week? That's like a cute question leading into a second date.
Right. I love that. Yeah. Make it sexy. Make it sexy. Make conversations about money sexy. I really love what you just said. There's so much I want to pull on. Whatever. Reconnected with an ex recently. And
no, girl.
I know. Well, first of all, yeah.
Wait, when you take out the trash, do you go check on it too?
Wow, I am like getting some tough love. I'm
I'm just saying.
You're right. Why am I doing that? Well, here's the kicker. So not only did we reconnect and he's still in
shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. I needed that. Well, I mean, we've been like briefly in touch, but we haven't seen each other in like 2 years. And one of his updates is that he got a Cybertruck. And my heart sank, and I just was like, and he said to them something to the effect of, I know it's not great, but like, I really like how it drives. And like, apparently it's
no,
like
you don't.
I guess it's about more than money, but it's about how you spend your money.
Correct.
Like, is that a really important part of it too? That it's not just what do you enjoy and what do you, sort of value, but then like things that you would never like use your money for.
Yes. Okay. So think about it like this. When you pay for something, you are making a choice with the dollar.
Right.
I personally would not feel comfortable supporting certain brands because of a large part, their founders' ethics and moral compasses, and also because certain cars have such poor brakes that I get motion sick in them all the time. So I'm not even making this to be a full ethical conversation. Bad cars.
Yeah. You can say what car it is. We don't need to say it.
We don't need to say
what we're talking about.
You know what we're talking about.
You know which one you get into and you feel you can't even be texting when you're in it.
You can't even be texting. I'd rather be in the back of a black Toyota Camry. I've never been sick in the back of a black Toyota Camry. I'm telling you. They're so good. Nothing wrong with a black Toyota Camry, okay? They're all over New York City. But here's my thing. If you have a partner who is constantly making choices with their dollar that are deeply misaligned with your personal values, don't you find that to be a problem? Like in the same way that like if your partner went to the polls and voted against you having rights, wouldn't you feel weird about that?
Right. Totally.
And I think this is very different than like I'm, dying for a McDonald's French fry.
Right.
There is some room to be said of like, these are franchised locations and some owners have different beliefs, and like it doesn't have to be a whole thing.
Sure.
You don't have to like nitpick apart your life.
Yeah.
Because frankly, there's no such thing as conscious consumerism under capitalism. But that brand is so deeply tied with its founder.
Yeah. And you're driving it every day, right? To your point with McDonald's.
It is also a reflection of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I want McDonald's. I'm hungover. And again, if you eat McDonald's, it's fine. Like we're not, shaming anybody.
I do. But let's be honest.
Yes.
I need a McNugget sometimes.
Sometimes I really do. Yeah. The thing you're going to be, that's also going to be, I mean, it's not in our driveway. We're not together, but arguably, right? Like this is the thing that it's
a reflection of you.
It's a reflection of you. Yeah. Much more than like something
something that you're very comfortable being a reflection of you.
Yeah, right. That it was like an update about him. Okay, I want to talk about so many other things. We have to
Sorry, I'm literally
you're amazing.
Distracting.
I want to ask you one last question before we get into some boy problems. Recently, there was a TikTok trend where women would be sort of secretly filming their boyfriends or husbands, or not secretly. Some of them were, doing it more obviously, but they went up to their husbands or boyfriends and they said, "Honey, I'm not going to be able to pay the mortgage this month."
Yeah.
And then the men would stare at them and be very confused and would say, "What? You never pay the mortgage." Or, "I got you. Like, you take care of the kids. Like, of course you're not paying for the mortgage." Yeah. So there was sort of a lot of commentary about that trend. There were people who were also posting their boyfriends or husbands being like, "Well, you got to pay for it." And then people kind of shaming those relationships.
Yeah.
Like, do you think, and I think feminism, quote unquote, TM, whatever, has not decided what's more feminist. Is it more feminist to go 50-50 and for women to have I'm just judging by your face, I'm guessing it's no. It's a no. But do you think that 50-50 is equality?
No.
Or do you think, okay, why?
Or finish your sentence.
Or should men be paying a larger, should men be paying for dates? We had Scott Galloway on the podcast who said men should be paying for everything on dates because men get more out of relationships than women do. What's your stance on that?
I think if you have a 50-50 partner, you are going to break up soon.
Whoa.
Because relationships are not 50-50. Some days I show up at home and I got 20 in the tank and my husband has to bring the other 80. And there are some days that he has 10 in the tank and I got to bring 90. But our relationship has never been 50-50. And frankly, I think 50-50 is easy for the math and it's equal. It's not equitable, damn certain. Because I remember something that like so vividly, and like I talk about this quite a lot, and like people are like, I don't know if this actually works for other people, Vivian, but like it does, I promise you. When me and my husband first started dating, he made a lot more money than me. And then he continued to make a lot more money than me for the next basically like 5 years. And the gap between how much money he made versus how much money I was making started to widen.
Okay.
And at a certain point, I had to sit him down and be like, I love you. but like, I can't afford this apartment. I cannot pay half of this rent. And he said, okay, I'll just pay more of the rent. He was like, I really like this apartment and we should live here. Like, it's close to my office. I can backflip to work. Like, it's going to shave off, 20 minutes off of my commute. I'm game. And he just paid more for the rent. And we prorated the rent based on what he was making versus what I was making.
Wow.
It felt equitable because it was a commensurate burden on my financial situation as it was his. And I think that like feminism is whatever you want to make it. If you have a situation in your family where you feel comfortable having one breadwinner and you are taking more household CEO jobs on, that's great. All I ask is that you still have your own money. Meaning, even if your partner's the only one bringing in money in the door, you are still allocated a portion of it.
Wow. That's yours.
That is yours. That is yours for the nail salon. That is yours for girls' night with, drinks, but is also yours in case you need to leave.
Yeah.
Because 99% of domestic violence cases also include financial abuse. Because a big reason why people can't leave is they literally can't.
Yeah.
If you have nowhere to go, if you have no money to even put a roof over your head, how are you going to leave? And so I just think that 50-50 relationships are a crock of shit. There's no such thing as 50-50. We're humans. It doesn't work that way. You're never going to be 50-50.
Yeah.
It does society a disservice to pretend like we should go halvesies on everything.
I like equity over equality. That equity is how you sort of measure each person's, right?
Yeah.
So if you're at a 20 and then your partner's like, well, here's my 50, like that's not.
If you are at 20 and your partner only brings 50 to the table, you should sit down and actually discuss where are we going to get this extra 30 from? Like, do we need to find time so that, you are able to carve out these hours in the day? How can I help do that? But like, there are days that both of us bring 25% to the table and we're exhausted and we know that there are things in our life that are just going to fall by the wayside, and that's okay. Sometimes our apartment's a mess. Sometimes we don't get the laundry done. These days we feel very fortunate that we're in a financial position that like sometimes we can outsource some of those things that are going to be taking away from our percentages to like get help.
Yeah.
Maybe it's we don't cook dinner tonight. Maybe we just Uber Eats it. Maybe it's, we have the housekeeper come because clearly neither of us have the energy to do this after a really long week.
Yeah. But do you think there's a gender component here? Like, do you think that men should be paying more?
I understand the argument for it because women take a larger risk when we find a mate, like very literally, right? Like we have to carry a baby for 9 months and men can like, just go and pew, pew, pew and like inseminate like a dozen people over a weekend. But like we take a larger risk in a relationship.
Yeah.
And also, given our society's value of beauty, women have more to lose. We are running out of time. Whereas like older men with more money typically are more appealing than
aging women.
Yeah. And so I think, yes, there is a larger risk. However, I also think that like there has been a like sprinkle movement that I also don't think is healthy.
Okay. So the sprinkle movement, for people who aren't extremely online and have total brain rot.
Yes.
It's
like chronically, unfortunately.
Yes, it's this creator, Shira. She has a lot of strong, I mean, she's a very, has a strong personality, has a lot of skills, is very popular. Her entire, sort of discourse is that men should pay for everything.
Yeah.
And that the minute he's not paying for anything, that's what he brings to the table and you should leave.
Well, that's my frustration is like, I don't think men can only bring money to the table anymore because we're seeing women start to out earn partners. Right. We're seeing more women become educated. Like, I feel like if your partner, we're talking heterosexual relationships here, but like if your partner only brings money to the table, you have a very poor partner.
Damn.
Like, I want my partner to be emotionally thoughtful, compassionate. I want them to help around the house. I want them to see things and not make me carry the entire mental load. I want a lot of these things. And like, I'm grateful that I've found someone who does that. And I think, we talk about the male loneliness epidemic. It's like, just if you pay for a couple dates, if you actually listen when they're talking, you wouldn't be so lonely. Just be a better partner. It's so simple. You cannot put the bare minimum out into the world and be like, how come that Victoria's Secret model who has a dozen other people chasing after her doesn't want to date me? How come? Yeah. Like, I'm going to become an incel. Like, what? Right. Because you are not the top pick. You are not the top draft. Like, you are not the top draft pick.
Yeah.
You need to be so many more things now. It's not enough to just be rich and attractive. You have to be kind. You have to be generous. You have to be thoughtful. And it's only then that you are like a full rounded person.
Yeah. And I think what you just said about if your partner is bringing money and that's the
only thing that they bring,
then that's a bad partner.
Poor.
Yeah.
Poor is the word I'm using.
Yeah. Poor partner.
Poor.
Right. Yeah. And I think that dynamic also, I mean, you were talking about domestic violence. I was in a, abusive relationship when I first moved to New York, which I didn't know was until, because I was like 25 alive and I didn't know anything. And one of the first things he did before he became violent was the financial part. Like I wasn't allowed to have my own credit card. I wasn't allowed to have my own bank account. He was like, oh no, couples have joint bank accounts. That's it. When I say wasn't allowed, we would argue about it and I'd be like, this doesn't make sense. And it would just, with a lot of abusive relationships, you almost just get so tired that you give in.
Yeah.
Because they drain your energy and your life force. But that laid the groundwork. When basically breaking up, I was like telling my friends, I was like, I don't even have a credit card. They were like, the first thing you do is you go to the bank right now and you get a credit card. Because also I'd moved to a foreign country with him, right? Like I wasn't, that's also why it sounds crazy, but I had a Canadian bank account, but I didn't have one in the United States. There is this urge to like want to be with a rich guy, right? I think you said this, like, I'm not going to marry a rich man. I am a rich man.
I'm going to be a rich man.
You're going to be a rich man. But I think in a society where financial security is really difficult, where especially for women,
I also looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
Like these girls bragging on TikTok about these rich men who take care of them, like they're sugar babies. They're putting out. They are trading something for something else. And that's, more power to you. But like, it's not quite so simple as like, oh, every single person can find a rich man. Don't you think those men also have the pick of the litter? They are going for the most pedigreed women who probably come from a similar rich background as them, undeniably beautiful, likely successful in their own right, or at least have some sort of deep connections, maybe through a family name. Like what? Like they have more picks. They are picking from 100 people on a roster because there's fewer of them. So like, I'm not telling people to settle, but like be real with yourself. If you want a millionaire in your family, it would be easier to just become one.
That's great. Okay, let's get into some boy problems.
Yes, let's do
This
it.
has been so riveting. Okay, we have so many good ones.
Did you think this interview was going to be so chaotic?
Well, all my interviews are a little chaotic.
I love that.
I mean, we're literally in bed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I have jammies on.
Exactly. We're in pajamas and we look like we're filming a porn, So there's like just cameras facing the bedroom. I wanted to get into weddings and bachelorette parties because a recent study showed that 1 in 3 people go into debt because of their friends' weddings. So how can you say no without ruining the friendship?
You have to make it about them. So it's like, okay, you're going to have a wedding, right?
Yeah.
And you want to have the engagement party. We're in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah.
We're going to have the engagement party in New York City. We're going on the bachelorette in Cabo. You're going to get married in Portugal, right?
No.
Right?
Oh, okay.
You're the bride.
I would never do that to anybody.
I'm the girl.
Okay.
I'm the girl suffering.
Okay.
Suffering, going through that. I'm going to say to you like, hey, Liz, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your special day. I am so happy for you. Congratulations again. I want to be really transparent. I have some financial goals that I'm working towards right now, and going to all 3 of these different events is not in my budget. I want to support you the best I can. Tell me which of these things is most important to you. My budget is XYZ, and I want to try and be there for you, but I don't want like your special day to be limited by what my financials are. So like, if you need me to take a step back, I'm happy to do that. If you need me to support you in another way, I'm happy to do that. Like, tell me what works best for you.
Wow. That's really, really good advice. Cause you're making it about them.
You.
Exactly.
Versus it'll be like, I'm Baroque.
Yes. Why are you doing this to me? I love that. I think what you just described, like doing 3 different locations for 3 different wedding events for your friends is like, I just feel like I just think it's lacking compassion. Unless you can fly everyone out.
Right.
Unless you can do that. I think it's a lot to ask.
I had a destination wedding.
Yeah.
And so I had to really think about this. You know what I did?
What?
I said no gifts.
Yeah.
No gifts. The
I had a
gift is
friend
you
do
being
that.
there.
I had a friend who did that.
Like, I really want you to be there. I feel like you don't need to get me a gift. It's not about that. And I actually showed people a good time.
Yeah.
I've been to some weddings. You spent so much money on yourself, on your dress, on the photographer, the videographer, but then we're over here eating very literally, this isn't even a metaphor for anything, reheated nachos. This shit was nasty, by the way. Oh my God. My PR team is going to be like, she swore a lot more on this podcast than usual. But like, I have been to weddings where I'm like, this was the worst experience of my life. But then I'll tell you one of the best weddings I've been to. It was in Brooklyn. It was a micro wedding. It was only like 40 people.
I love that.
This couple had a ceremony, I kid you not, 6 minutes. Then the rest of the night was just chowing down on all of their favorite like Brooklyn eats. They had Ruby's Pizzas.
Yeah.
They had Blackbird Pie Company. They had a Van Leeuwen ice cream truck pull up. This wedding, I guarantee you, cost less than the other crappy one I went to with the reheated nachos. But like, it was very clear that the bride, who by the way I don't like, I hope she doesn't hear this. Whatever. She like organized this so that she could have the Instagram video she wanted. But the rest of us were sitting out there in the cold.
In reality.
And it was horrific.
Right.
Whereas if I'm honest, I don't even know if the couple in Brooklyn who got married in Brooklyn, shout out Patrick and Jen, I love them. They had the greatest wedding. I really, really do believe that. We had so much fun. I don't know if they even like really got photos, like a ton of photos and video, because like I didn't even notice the photographer or like the videographer. Like they were just there.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that's what a wedding should be. Like we truly celebrated the couple. Yeah. They spent time and spoke to everybody. Like it was so nice.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they prioritize reality versus Instagram, right?
Whereas I wanted Instagram,
right,
but also
good reality.
I had 3 days of events. I fed my guests full plated meals at all 3. There were opportunities for them to like experience Italy in a way that like is very special and with things that like otherwise would be very cost prohibitive. Fireworks on the on the shores of Lake Como, like that cost us a lot of money to do, but like we wanted to give our guests that experience. We wanted to like have all of the Italian desserts that they could try. Like we actually tried to make it an enjoyable experience, but we told them like no gifts, no money, don't do that.
Yeah.
That was because we knew they were already shelling out to be there. And like some bridezilla, groomzillas, I feel like they want you to go to their destination wedding, but they also want you to fund it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not about to GoFundMe your wedding.
Or Venmo the bride. Venmo the bride kills me, actually. No, Venmo the bride, I think that feels like we're in a simulation.
Right.
That's just, that's not, no one in Canada is doing that. It's so American.
It's so American.
Okay, so let's get into some boy problems. So this question is from Michelle. She's 28. Prenups with your boyfriend that is way richer than you, like makes $1 million a year richer than you, wants you to take his last name, but all you would walk away with is spousal, $14K a month, and child support, along with the profit of a shared investment account, minimum of $200K payout after 7 years. I'm so glad you're here to answer this because I don't even know what that is.
These are details.
Yeah. All his assets and businesses are protected, and he agreed to pay me a mom's salary for the years I take off. Is this a fair agreement? Am I missing something? What do I need to consider? He's being a bit inflexible with amendments because he is saying you're not here for the money, right?
That is such a dirtbag kind of thing to say. Though I will say, like, there are some like great points. I think I find this hard to like give a full answer to without knowing how much Michelle makes per year. Because it says that he makes $1 million more than she does. But like, do you make 65 grand a year and he makes $1,065,000? Right. Or like, do you make 250 a year and he makes $1,250,000? Right? Because that's a very different conversation. That's a very different conversation. I think it's very respectable that you would get a mom salary. I like that. I like that you would have your own money even if you wouldn't be working. I like that you would walk away with spousal support and child support. I do think there is something that needs to be discussed of like, it sounds like this person is like a serial entrepreneur. What if you guys start a business together after? Like, is there a difference between things brought into the relationship and then marital money? And again, this is also hard to answer because I don't know where they live. Yeah. Because some states in the US are community property states.
What's that?
Basically your assets, but also some of the negative things of like debts can become community property. And in some states, California included, there are common law marriages. So even if you didn't marry this person, if you had been together long enough, they could come after you for that money. Listen, there are still details that I don't fully have to be able to answer this in the best way. What I would actually encourage you to do, get your own attorney.
Yeah.
Prenups, when done by one attorney, are actually very hard to enforce in court.
Really?
Yes. Because you need to make sure that you have your own legal representation. They have a lawyer who's very clearly like, this is like, I don't know if this is family money or they're already, they have a business. They have a lawyer on retainer. It's clear this man is negotiating this from a position of power.
Right.
If you want to have a true fair negotiation, if you want to give him exactly the kind of medicine he gave you with, you're not here for the money, right? And just be like, I'm not here for the money. I just want to make sure that like my interests are protected. Would you be willing to help me cover some legal costs? I would love to have an attorney look at this so that we are able to have a fair and honest negotiation. Yeah. And frankly, this person might be able to afford their own attorney. Yes. I don't know. Right. Because I don't know how much they're making a year.
Right. And turn it back on him and say, well, you're not here
to screw me over, right?
Right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's such good advice because, I mean, first of all, in general, an attorney represents their client's interests.
Correct.
Period.
Yes.
And so you're not his client.
That is somebody else's lawyer, ma'am.
Exactly. Literally.
Like in the same way that like when you go to HR, HR for your company, HR doesn't work for you.
No.
They work for the company. They're protecting the company.
Exactly.
Why would you go to HR?
Yeah. And this happened to me kind of recently where I was involved in something and one of the parties was like, oh, we'll cover your legal fees. And even that with their lawyer, I think it's really tempting. Even in this case, he might say, oh, he'll look at it for a year or someone else at his firm will look at it for you and I'll pay for it. That's a
conflict of interest. Conflict of interest.
Exactly.
They cannot appropriately represent you both.
Exactly.
This is why I also hate real estate brokers try to be sellers and buyers brokers. Because I'm like, obviously you are going to try and get the fucking price up because you want to cut the largest commission. You don't care. Whereas like if you are a buyer's broker, your goal is to try and get the price as low as possible.
Yeah. Conflicts of interest, because won't tell you it's a conflict of interest.
You have to be the one to
point
address
out.
that.
They love a conflict of interest. It benefits them. Okay, that was a great answer. I love that. Okay, next question. Hi, Liz. You are amazing. I love you so much for everything you do for the girlies, all the humans in general. My boy problem is multifaceted. I have abandonment issues with my dad and my family. My boyfriend, Brian, and I have been together for 2 years. I just bought a house and it's a fixer-upper. Everywhere I look, something needs to be painted, replaced, or repaired. It's a work in process, and I am used to handling everything on my own, using the internet or path of least resistance to solve problems like this in the past. But when I tell Brian about some of the repairs, the oven repair person charging me $300, he gives me a sort of lecture saying I went about the problem the wrong way or spent too much money. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and him coming from intentions of being helpful, but I don't like the vulnerability of asking him for help and his opinion all the time because it gets overwhelming and I am truly used to doing most things on my own. How do I navigate this? Do men just want help? Does he get value from doing these things and telling me how? Is it my abandonment wound being triggered or something? I can't help but feel like I'm bothering him because he owns 2 homes, runs a business, and has his own hobbies too.
Okay, so I think this is kind of a twofer.
Yeah.
One, I will say, I think Brian is not a bad guy. I think Brian probably doesn't understand when you want support versus a solution.
Right.
Like sometimes I complain to my husband and he's like, well, Vivian, why don't you just, I'm like, I want you to rub my back and tell me that everything is going to be fine, okay? I don't want your advice.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me that I am great and smart and pretty. And there are times that I actually go to him and I'm like, hey, what is your perspective?
Yeah.
When you are going to Brian, tell Brian ahead of what you're about to tell him if you want like support or a solution. There are 2 different ways to respond. But then if you actually go to get a solution and he is, it sounds like a very handy person, has, been in the real estate business for a second now, maybe listen to him. I don't think there's anything wrong in taking that advice. I think the way he might be conveying it can be a little harsh.
Yeah.
But I also think it's possible that he just hates to see you getting taken advantage of. So maybe it's you tell him the tone is hard for you to hear, but you actually are interested in what options are available to you. Is there a way that you could just help me outline on a piece of paper what is the correct way to go about this? And then you can do your own research.
Yeah. And I think this is also a case of clarifying, right? Like when you do things, tell me that I got screwed over by a repair person, it makes me feel like I'm like a bad person or that I'm doing something wrong. Like, what's your intention? I think it's actually an opportunity to deepen your relationship, for him to learn more about you and for you to learn more about him.
I feel so much for this person though, because both of my parents are Brian's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same. Oh my God. Some of the biggest fights, because my father is immigrant. They're the cheapest, most frugal people in the world. Even if they were billionaires, they would never, which would never happen, but because they wouldn't even think that's like an ethical thing. And their worst nightmare would be to be rich. Like, I'm not kidding. But some of the biggest fights we've had and like yelling and screaming and just like we don't talk for days is over like me getting a car service from the, like, this is like deep COVID stories, a car, like get from the border to like Montreal. My dad couldn't come and get me because he couldn't cross the border. And I was just like gonna pay like a cab. And my dad was just like livid that I wouldn't just take the cab to the border and then him coming to get me. So it was like a $70, but to them it was like I was betraying our entire family. So I totally relate.
We have Brian's in our life.
Yes.
Brian's are not evil people.
No.
They just need a little redirecting.
Right.
I tried to hire movers to move a couch into my parents' house.
Oh, my parents would kill me.
Nope. My dad made my husband and him do it together. Yeah. And my husband was like, I don't want to do this. My husband was like, what? Like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. And the worst part was like, I feel this is like truly like so cute, but like kind of sad. My dad's getting older.
Yes, same.
Like his back is not doing the thing that it used to do.
Yeah.
And so he like had a hard time
Yeah.
lifting the couch. So then my husband's like, I'm gonna lift this damn couch by myself. And so, you know, our parents, like we start here, we're children, and they like raise us and they support us and they support us and they support us. But at a certain point, they become the infants and we have to start like,
it's so true. There
taking
is
care
that.
of them.
And yeah. And I think sort of acknowledging that and accepting that makes things a lot easier. Okay. And sometimes I like to remind my mom, what did she say the other day? I have to remind her that I'm like 38 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh yeah. I know how to spend money. Like I can manage my money.
Yeah.
Like that's something that you know.
My mom told me the other day, she's like, oh, just make sure you're saving. I'm like,
Yeah.
Can you believe? Can you believe? I'm like, hey mom, do you have any idea what I do for a living? Just really quick. Let's have that conversation.
So cute though. But that's the thing. Even though you're growing up, you're still their kid, you know, which I'm sure we'll do too. Okay, next question. Oh my God, we have so many good ones. Hey Liz, happy to hear you back in my ears. 9 months ago, my boyfriend of 7 years left me. He told me he was unhappy for a couple years, which I felt, but he would not admit it until we were breaking up. It was years since he initiated sex. And when I initiated, he would do it, but he truly looked sad to be there until it got going. Oh my God, that sucks. I'm only 30 and it's been years since I had sex with someone who actually wanted to have sex with me. I'm unfortunately living with my mom to save money because I have 2 dogs and I don't want to force into apartment life. I'm ready to try casually dating, but I definitely feel some shame about my current situation. I've been on the apps for a couple of months. Very few men meet my buddy criteria, i.e. looking for something casual, liberal, and not overtly creepy. The men I have spoken to just stop responding after initial hellos. I'm so confused by it all and shocked at how hard it is to find someone to have sex with. People tell me I need to lower my standards since it's just sex. However, nothing makes me drier than someone saying they're conservative, moderate, or apolitical. Is casual sex with a nice dude just a thing in the movies? Help.
Oh, okay. This is different.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this question because I thought most of it was about you're living
in the
at
apartment.
home, but then it also turned into it's multifaceted. There's a lot going on.
Okay, so this person does not want a serious relationship. Let's clarify that this person should not be dating.
Oh.
Because if you're not dating to find your life partner, you're dating to get your
heartbroken.
That's right. And so I think this person should be casually meeting people. And so the easiest way to do that, aside from like, you know, you can use the apps. I feel like apps are like kind of weird though now.
Yeah, wait, like what are we doing? Is there a way to do the app or like is it over?
Here's my thing. I think it's actually better to meet people in real life.
Yeah.
So join a rec league. You don't have to be good, by the way. Like there are kickball leagues where you don't have to be good. They just go out for beers after. I know people who are like former college athletes that are in one rec league, and then people who are like former college frat boys who like, you know, have no hand-eye coordination in a completely different league. I think you should join spaces that are naturally going to have people that you are interested in. So like if you don't want to date someone who's a conservative, perhaps it is about joining some sort of club or environment, volunteering for a cause that you would be unlikely to find conservative people there.
Yes.
And I think it's one, really nice to meet people in real life because you can kind of get a sense if like you vibe or not. But 2, I think like the living at home thing is not that big of a problem.
I agree.
Can I tell you? Yeah. My first year in New York City, I lived in a studio apartment with another girl. We're like, that was her bed, this was my bed. And if we both sat up, we'd be like looking at each other. There was no wall. It was like basically a glorified NYU dorm room.
I'm obsessed.
And it was because we wanted to live in a doorman building so our packages wouldn't get stolen, but also so we'd have security because we were like young women living in the city.
Wait, you've made a video about this. I've seen this. I've heard about it.
Craziest tiny apartment.
Yeah.
Tiniest apartment. And the thing is like we would just play away games. You don't have to play home games. Oh. Just play an away game.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Right?
Yeah, go to his house.
Go to his house, play an away game, and then you can broach that conversation when it comes.
Yeah, you don't even need to say you're living at home.
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's not relevant. That's literally not relevant. You don't need to bring that up. And I think that like if you are just trying to like have something casual and like get back into the swing of things and like feel love for both your love life but also yourself again, that should be pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like as a young woman, I said this before, I feel like it is so easy. I feel like it's so easy. But it might be because you are being shown the wrong people because your selection pool is so vast on the apps. There's no criteria unless you're paying for the premium version.
Right.
So like,
are you pro that paying for dating apps?
No.
I think there's something so humiliating about it.
I actually think it's less humiliating to pay for a matchmaker than it is to pay for dating apps.
Interesting.
Because a matchmaker, you're paying them for their connections, ostensibly to connections to people that you would actually be interested
Want to date.
Whereas like just paying for a dating app, you still don't know what toxic sludge is in the pool.
Right.
You're just kind of like,
Yes, they're all there. I mean,
instead of using a fishing line and a net, like you're using a trawler, but you're still picking up crap off of the ocean floor.
also, I cannot believe that we have self-driving cars, but that the matches on dating apps that are showing me like my best match look like, in the words of my roommate, America's Most Wanted. Like, I don't understand how they can be that,
Because they're not incentivized to have you actually find a match.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I mean,
They're incentivized to keep you on the app because one, they can serve you advertising, but two, because America's Most Wanted is paying to be matched with you.
Right.
Bad boys. What you gonna do? That's not even the right thing though. That's for cops.
Yeah, but it feels like that in my head. It feels like Exorcism song, whatever that is. Or no, Sharks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what? I can't believe they haven't figured that out, but now I know why.
Yeah.
Now I know why.
Also, this is just like, again, unsolicited advice. You gotta throw some blood in the water.
Yeah.
You gotta be chumming. So you know what chumming is. When you go fishing, you're not supposed to do this, by the way. It's like very illegal. When you go deep sea fishing, you throw some like fish parts and blood into the water, and then the sharks come. So you're chumming. Right? You are not above a good thirst trap. That is blood in the water.
Sure.
Chumming. You gotta be chumming.
Also, I don't see a world where you being like forward about the fact that you don't want a relationship, that doesn't mean like a bunch of guys match with you on a dating app. I had a friend who, she's a sort of a war reporter, so she spends a lot of time in Palestine. So she put casually, I don't know what the setting was, but not looking for something serious. And she was like, girl, like you just get so many, because let's be honest, like a lot of men, commitment might not be something that they want to do, especially if they're young and around 30, they're not there yet.
Their brain's not fully developed.
Yeah, it's not about you. It's not that you're not good enough. It's that this is just how they are. And I would say, because I see guys do this all the time. I mean, their bios are, I actually like don't like that. So because I think when men do it, it's abrasive, but I think women should do it because we're supposed to be more selective. But it's like, you should say no MAGA or right? Like whatever you're looking for. Like if you voted for Trump, get away from me.
Here's the thing. If you are allowed to have like a type, right? Yeah. Like if you do not want to date someone who is going to order the kitty tenders and fries at a nice restaurant, that is my type. I want you to be able to try new foods, right? That is the type. I want you to be able to do a certain level of physical activity because I want to do those things. So if you are not game to go rock climbing or go to a boxing class with me, that limits what we're able to do together. In the same way that if we have fundamental differences, like why are you interested in me anyway?
Yes. That's such a good point. And then there are dating apps like Field, that really focus on physical intimacy. Like you could also try that. I think there's a lot of guys who are open to this if you are explicit about what you want and like say what you want. And then, the thing about living with your mom, I think is totally fine.
I also think that this person might have a little bit of like a mental block with the sex thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like her being like, I just want something casual. I just want to have sex. It's like, I feel like you just want to be wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't think it necessarily has to be like you dive into physical intimacy right away. I think you just want to know that like there is somebody out there who you would like back, who would like you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, do you think that for women it's harder to just be friends with benefits? Do you think it?
Yeah, I do. Like hormonally, we like actually release oxytocin.
Literally. Yeah. And then men don't, and it's unfair.
I mean, they do, but it's not one of those things. Like we want that support and comfort and that like warmth in a way that like some men don't need.
Yeah, exactly. And some women don't, but I think there's a biological, and again, nature and nurture, it all builds on itself, but I think there's like a biological inequality there that is makes me really mad because I wish I could. So Vivian, thank you so much for joining us on Boy Problems. You were a wealth of knowledge and support and wisdom. Your new book, everyone should go get it. It's called Well Endowed.
I mean, come on. It's perfect for what we talked about today.
The secret to strategic spending, building a financial foundation for you and your family, and creating lasting generational wealth. Run, don't walk, because as you've been able to tell from this podcast, Vivian is just an incredible like source of just badass knowledge. And you are just an incredible voice. I'm so grateful for you. you. I feel like you're the inner badass that everyone should.
Thank you.
The Rich BFF that everyone should have. Hence your Instagram handle. And I know I learned a lot from our conversation, and I'm really excited for this book tour and to dive into this book. Thank you so much, Vivian. And you'll have to come back because we have so many more boy problems. Keep sending your money-related boy problems, and hopefully you can come back and answer them.
I'll come back. We'll have another jam sesh.
Yeah, another jam sesh. I love all your comments on the latest episode with David Ferrier, who we know that you really wanted us to have on the show. We had so many sweet comments. Miranda Fair Panda said, "Oh, I'm sat for this. We love David." And Leash said, "This was such an amazing podcast. Right amount of chaos. I love when David just talks about the most bizarre stuff." We do talk about semen recipes and dolphin dating.
I don't want that anywhere near me.
Yeah, you should. It's a joke. He basically has a cookbook about how to incorporate semen into cocktails and recipes. And yeah, he's never made them. It's a joke. It's a joke. Cool. But thank you. Yeah, thank you for all your comments. Keep leaving them and leave a review. It really helps us beat the bros. As you know from this new study, 2/3 of podcasters are male. So the whole bro podcast thing is real. They have a huge influence. And
most of them aren't even good.
And most of them aren't even good. Also, the entire idea that women are the ones who are yappers, come on, we can retire that. Men are yapping, men are gossiping. Every time you support a female podcaster,
an angel
gets his wings, and a mean politician doesn't get elected. And Vivian has an amazing podcast too.
Yes.
So please go follow her podcast.
You can check it out. It's called Net Worth and Chill.
It's so good. It is so good. Thank you so much, Vivian. We love you. Please come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.